Chapter 9 has to do with global stratification. Now, what does that mean? Stratification, you'll remember, has to do with layers in society, usually social classes, upper, middle, lower class, within a given country or nation or society. This chapter has to do with global stratification. That is, there are rich nations and countries, and there are poor nations and countries, and there's some in the middle. If you'll remember, the conflict theorists said that within the idea of stratification, the idea of social classes arranged in a hierarchy, top to bottom, that there is a good deal of conflict. And they believe that the same sort of conflict exists among nations, in which rich nations take advantage of poor countries by using their labor cheaply and by obtaining raw materials cheaply. That's the conflict theorist view. Then there are those who think that stratification, as it is inevitable within a nation or any given country, that it's inevitable among different countries. It's among and between countries all over the globe. And the consequence of that is that there sometimes are very poor people in some very, very, very poor countries. They call that absolute poverty. That is, that the population in those countries, many of the folks who live there, have trouble staying alive and getting enough food and enough shelter and enough relief from disease. And there are countries that are very, very rich, like our own, countries of Europe, Japan, Canada. These are countries in which people live pretty well. And in Northern Europe, for example, and Sweden and Norway, folks in those countries live better than they do here in the United States. They have a higher standard of living. Global stratification is a reality, and it is something that you should recognize as another form of stratification.